As many of us anglers know, river systems are notorious for being full of life. Whether you're targeting steelhead or muskie or rock bass or carp, it doesn't matter. The reality is rivers are the home to a lot of fish. But I think there's one fish that really tops the list with regards to sport fishing, and that, my friends, is the smallmouth bass. Now, I'm from Kansas originally, and I moved up here to Michigan a little over 5 years ago. And as a multi-species fisherman, I've allowed myself to get very distracted, and constantly I'm fishing for different species. And while I love doing that, one thing that I feel like I've really been missing out on is the river smallmouth. While I've certainly targeted these fish several times, I never really feel like I've created a true intention of becoming a better smallmouth fisherman in rivers. And that is exactly why we're here today. Today marks the start of a new series. Welcome to River Bronze, the pursuit of a 20. Just like the name suggests, the ultimate goal is to catch a 20-inch smallmouth bass from the river. But aside from that, really the main goal is to just become a better river fisherman in general and a better smallmouth bass fisherman. While I have a lot of experience targeting smallmouth bass, being from Kansas, most of that experience is in reservoirs. And while they're still the same fish at the end of the day, they act totally different. The ecosystem is totally different. So I think it's really important that I create some intention and get out here and just really focus on the river. So whether I get one this trip or the next trip or maybe 20 trips from now, the goal is simple. I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna river fish, I'm gonna go for smallmouth bass, and this series is not over until I catch a 20-incher. Without further ado, let's get started. I'm gonna start by covering water. Hi there. Oh, what's up, man? Do you want to wave to yourself on YouTube? This is Mike. That's so funny. Yeah, nice to meet you. I saw John Dalton catch too many fish on this little rig right here, like a weedless jig head with a yum dinger. Now, I'm not using his crazy color, but I'm using June bug, and I think that'll work quite well in these conditions. One thing I definitely want to note with regards to gear is I brought 3 rods with me today. You know, when I go fish a lake, a lot of times I bring 4 or 5 because I've got the space for it. But when I'm fishing a river, I think it's actually important to, you know, bring a little bit less, just because fishing in rivers can be problematic. And for those of you who have fished out of a kayak in a river before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Here we go. I just got snagged up. This is a prime example. Anytime you get snagged up, the thing about it is when you go to retrieve that lure, the current is constantly pushing you around. And if you have a whole bunch of gear in your kayak, it gets to be a lot, and you're trying to avoid flipping and you're trying to avoid breaking stuff. And so I felt like it was probably for the best that I just bring 3 rods, because I can keep 3 rods down by my feet if I want to, as opposed to if I had 5, a lot of them would be sticking up, and then all of a sudden I'll find myself in a mess. The amount of times I've almost broken a rod because I brought too much gear on the river is too many to count. So I think I've finally learned my lesson, and during this series you're probably going to see me bring 3 rods more often than not. Every now and again I might bring more, but I'm going to really try to avoid that. This is a little Strike King pot belly. It's a 3/8 ounce spinnerbait. It's got a single Colorado blade to give some thump, and then I actually put a donkey tail on the back of it, just add a little bit larger profile and then give it a little bit of kick off the tail. We'll see. It looks good, swims good. Has just a nice little subtle flap from the tail, and then the blade obviously gives it a nice thump. Water's dirty, so gotta imagine that'll help bring the fish in. Once I find one, I think I'll find a group. So just gotta keep trudging along, kind of try to get a feel for things, and then ultimately oh, something, what happened there? I bet I just got hit by a pike. That was super weird. My reel just like felt like it gave out, but it didn't. I think something hit it so hard that it came towards me, and it just threw slack in my line. Oh yeah, I just got hit again. That was a pike. Dadgummit. Bye-bye spinnerbait. Shoot. Well, good news is we got a bite. Bad news is it was the wrong species, and also he stole my lure. I don't know. I think I might run a crankbait for a little bit. Try this old bomber crankbait I have. It dives down there probably like, I've got 14-pound fluoro on there. I bet you this thing will dive like 5 feet. That should be enough. The thing that bothers me about the river is I never know when to just skip an area. When do I just say, you know what, this is not the type of place that I need to be. I need to move. That's a fish. I knew I got hit. That's a smallie. Okay, so he ate it. That was super weird. He ate it. I hooked him, but then he came towards me, and I thought I had lost him. I was confused because I was like, I swore that was a bite, and that's a nice little smallie. Well, turns out we're in. Okay, this rod is too long. There you go. That was like the worst net job in history. Doesn't even really need to net this fish, but it's got a treble hook in his mouth, so I'd prefer to have a net. Now that right there is a really dark fish. Okay. All right, that, my friends, is what it's all about. Little bronze right there. Look at that fish. It's beautiful. He's almost green on the top. May not be big. It's not a 20-incher, but it's a gorgeous fish. See you, buddy. You know what's funny is I decided I'm not going to worry about where my kayak goes, and I drifted down a long ways after hooking that fish. What I was saying is I never really know where I'm supposed to go, and that's the purpose of this series, is I want to get more confident in seasonal patterns and locations. Where do I go, when, so on and so forth. I kind of just fish, and that's not the right way to go about it with smallmouth bass in the river. You gotta know where to go, because I have a feeling these fish move around a lot, right? They can pretty much go anywhere. This river goes for miles and miles and miles. I'm sure that these fish, if they wanted to travel 50 miles, they could. And it's pretty crazy to think about that, but I imagine some of those fish do move a lot throughout the year. Why would a fish be right here? It's just kind of like a long stretch. And obviously, it's got some good cover and whatnot, but what's different about this spot than all the stuff I just fished? I mean, maybe it's just the crankbait. Maybe that's all that was different. Who knows? Can't really learn much from one fish. Got to ultimately replicate bites and hopefully learn from numerous fish. I'm gonna start working my way down the other bank and moving on out of this location. As much as I love the fact that I caught one fish, I don't think that's enough to keep me here. There's one. The second I start leaving, of course, I get another fish. This might not be a bad fish. Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, let's turn our kayak. The joys of river fishing, my friend. Oh, baby. That's more like what we want. It ain't no 20, but it ain't as bad as the last one, my friends. How about that? How about them apples? All right, maybe we just figured something out. Second I start thinking about leaving, catch another fish. Look at that. Beautiful fish. I actually underestimated him. That's a 16.5-inch fish. 16.5-inch smallie. Not a bad start to the deal right there. Good. Okay, well, we've got a little ways to go to get to a 20, but not bad, given the fact that I've only been fishing for, well, probably around an hour. I think both fish I've caught have probably been at about 2 or 3 foot of water right by a tree. There he is. I knew there was a fish there. He came up and, no! That was a good one. Dadgummit. I don't know how big he was. He got down in the current and he kicked off. I didn't hook him super well. I have a feeling I just had kind of a back treble hook on him. I had gotten bumped in front of that tree, so I repositioned and made another cast because I had a feeling he might come back. And he did, but unfortunately I didn't get a good hook in him. Felt like a decent fish, but it very well could have been a 14-incher that got himself into the current real good. Okay, so I'm making my way back out of this little stretch of river right here. This is actually a smaller river that dumps into the big river, and that's where I caught those fish. Now, it seemed like there was one little hot spot where I caught a few, and other than that, I really didn't have any success. So I caught 2 fish, and I missed a third. So I definitely feel like I learned a few things. The fish were all kind of in around 3 to 4 foot of water behind a tree on kind of a steep drop-off bank. And they were way up there, right? So I don't know what they're doing. Probably pre-spawned fish thinking about spawning. So maybe there's an area up there that they like to spawn in, but I'm gonna come back out here to the main river and just keep adventuring, keep trying to learn more stuff. So I'm gonna go up the river, I'm gonna go up current, and we're gonna see what we can find. All in all, successful outing so far, but it's definitely pretty slow. There is a fish in there. I hooked him, and then he got down in there, and I literally thought I was snagged, but it's a largemouth bass that was super tight to cover. That is hilarious. That was so crazy. And he's got a lamprey on him. Dadgummit, I hate these things. All right, let's cut off his freaking head. Viewer discretion is advised. Ah, gosh dang it, he's in my kayak. All right, the lamprey let go. Goodbye, bass. Now this stupid little lamprey is in my kayak. I really don't like these things. They're literally so gross. Oh, come on. Okay, he's under my seat. Why? Okay, the good news is I'm in a location where this is okay. The bad news is there's a freaking creature in my kayak, and I am not gonna be able to rest easy until it is out. He's under my seat somewhere. How do I gonna do this? All right, I've got a knife, I've got a lamprey, I've got a crankbait I really don't want going on my leg. At the end of the day, we're all conservation forward, right? And we need to do what's right for the ecosystem. And so me getting rid of this is good because those things are non-native, they're invasive, they cause tremendous problems, and somebody's got to do it. It's dirty work, my friends, but it's what I'm here to do. I am a man of the people. I am a man of the fish. Any lamprey that crosses me will have its head cut off. You know, sea lamprey in their native location are important parts of the ecosystem. So I want to be really clear. If I was up there where they actually are from, which I think is like, I think is the Northeast. I think they swim up the rivers in the Northeast, if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong, but either way, in their native locations, I know that they serve a role in the ecosystem. And so they're actually a cool species there, but they're not a cool species here because they are invasive, they are problematic, and we don't need them. So my gut tells me if I want to catch more fish, I should go back to where I was catching some, but I decided that I am going to go outside of my comfort zone and I am going to keep moving water. So I'm actually going to pedal downstream. It looks like on maps, it appears there might be a small creek that flows in, so fingers crossed that the mouth of that might have a few fish. I don't think it's going to be a creek big enough to actually pedal up, but we'll see. I don't really know. I've never actually fished down there. So this will be an adventure. We're going to move some new water and try a few things, and we'll see. Might be a big mistake, might pay off. I think this is all it is. It's just a little tiny tube with water coming out of it. Oh, I got hit. I don't know what that was, but he short striked me. Huh, and I'm only sitting 3.5 foot of water, and this has got some pretty steady flow. All right, well, I'll take the fact that I got a little nibble. Could have been a bluegill for all I know. Try to flip. There's one. Yep. Good. I'm glad I came here. I don't know if it's gonna be any good or not. He doesn't feel small. He's not terrible. It's a, is that a largemouth or a smallmouth? Oh gosh. It's a smallmouth. And I've got myself a situation. This current is serious right here. Having a hard time getting my kayak turned around. There we go. This is why you do not want a bunch of gear. Because if I was to have a ton of gear, I would have been tangling my rods up in trees and all sorts of stuff. So there I was able to focus on just getting into a safe position and landing this fish. Beautiful little smallmouth bass. Gorgeous. Not near the size we're looking for, but it's the right species, and at this point I'll take anything. All right, back to it. I gotta get back in position. Golly, I'm fighting the current here. Man, look at this. I have to constantly pedal just to kind of hold my position. So otherwise I will get swept down. That would be a snag. Good snag. Set the hook real nice on that tree. Man, this is interesting. I think the backside of this island is gonna be a good spot. I'm gonna fish down this stretch and then work my way back up and around the island. I don't think I wanna go any further downstream just for the sake of time. but it looks like there could be some good water down there too, so we'll see. It breaks up right here. There's like a natural eddy after this little point. This could be interesting right here on the back side of this little point right here. That looks good. Oh snap, I just got one. Oh my gosh, that's a good one. In this shallow stuff, this shallow high current situation. Nice fish, good. Good, 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 good. I knew this spot looked promising. It's interesting. So this fish was in totally different type of water than all the other ones I've caught. This one was in the middle of the river in a shallow, rocky spot with lots of current. It's probably a 15-incher. It's a gorgeous fish. He's freaking fat. Pre-spawn fish, baby. Gotta love it. Okay. Can't tell me there's not gonna be some smallies right here behind this little current break. I wonder if maybe they could spawn on a bank like this. They go up there, they feed, and then they could pull off here and spawn because there's less current right here. That feels like good, worthwhile logic. I don't know if I'm right or wrong, but it feels like good logic. I'm gonna fish this point and then this slack water bank, and then we're gonna come back out and around and go on the opposite side of the island. I think I'm around fish, I really do. There's one. Oh, that's a big one. Dadgum, he didn't even bite it. I didn't even feel a bite. Oh my gosh, that's a big one. Oh. What if I caught a 20 today? That'd be hilarious. That's not a 20. That's not a 20, but it is a good fish. Now land it. Hey. Oh, when in doubt, throw a tube. Ba-boom. Let's get it. I don't know how I hooked him super good. I felt like I had a kind of a weak hook set. Look at that. That, my friends, is what this series is about. I knew this bank looked way too good. Yeah. That's a, once he closes his mouth, 17.5 incher. 17.5. Yeah, I'll take a 17.5, my friends. Well, I'm not entirely sure how this bank only produced this one bite, but this bank looks good, and thankfully, it paid off. Now, the weird thing is, that's the only bite that I've had on this bank. So it's just weird because I really feel like I haven't caught numerous fish all in one area. You know, they've all been slightly isolated. I haven't caught 2 fish back to back yet. Okay, well, today's MVP for quantity was the Bomber 4A in a red crayfish pattern. And today's MVP for quality was actually this Dry Creek Custom Baits Fire Tiger Tube. My friends, kind of a unique bait. Definitely something I'm gonna be throwing more in the future. I only caught the 1 fish on it, but I definitely have confidence that it's gonna catch smallmouth bass. I think it's a nice color for this dingy water, and I feel like it's something that the fish aren't gonna see very often, so I don't know. I like it. All in all, I feel like today was a great start to River Bronze, the pursuit of a 20. You know, we caught a 17.5-inch fish, which is really solid. I trust that there's a bunch of 20s out there swimming, but we just didn't find them today, but that is okay. I didn't expect for it to happen in one trip. Quite honestly, I have no idea how long it's gonna take, but I'm just gonna keep making these videos along the way. So if you wanna stay tuned to River Bronze, make sure to click subscribe below. As I make these videos, I am going to learn a lot, and I am going to hopefully help you learn a lot along the way. And then ultimately, I hope I catch a 20-inch smallmouth, because that is ultimately the goal. All in all, have a great day. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you next time. Love it.